So the final set of the exercise is some multiple choice questions on elasticity. So let's see if we can work out the answers. Now the first question, we have a demand curve for a golf course and a current price of P1, and so quantity demanded is Q1. And we're looking at what happens when the price rises to P2 and quantity falls to Q2, and the assumption is that demand is inelastic. Then given our formula, percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price, in this case, the percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in price. That's what we mean by demand being inelastic. So if that's the case, it means that revenue will rise. The fall in demand proportionately is less than the fall in price, than the increase in price. So this area here, P1 times Q1, is the revenue received by the golf course at the low price. The revenue received when they raise price is this area here. They get more per fee, but fewer fees, but the proportionate change in quantity demanded is less than the proportionate change in price, so revenue rises. That's what we mean by an inelastic demand.
And the answer to that one is A. It's equal to 0, because a perfectly inelastic demand curve is vertical. It means that the elasticity of demand, which is equal to the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price, is equal to, in this case, to 0. Why is that so? No matter what the price change is, there is no effect on the quantity demanded.
Now in this problem, we've got a straight line demand curve. Let's see what happens to the value of the elasticity as we move along the curve. And the answer is that although the slope is constant, the value of the elasticity varies. At the top end of the curve, the proportionate change in quantity demanded is greater than the proportionate change in price. So up here, demand is elastic. At some point, the proportionate change in quantity demanded is the same as the proportionate change in price, so demand is unitary. As price falls even further, demand becomes inelastic. The proportionate change in quantity is less than the proportionate change in price. So as we move along the demand curve, if it's got a constant slope, we find that as we move down the curve, demand becomes more inelastic. It's at higher prices where demand is elastic.
The answer to this one is D. It's a vertical supply curve, and whatever the change in price, there is no change in the quantity supplied by producers. So a perfectly inelastic supply curve would be vertical because a change in price would cause absolutely no change in quantity supplied.
Our final question concerns cross-elasticity of demand. Now remember, there are two possible categories here. There are complementary goods and substitute goods. Substitutes would be something like butter and margarine. It's relatively easy to substitute out of one into the other. Other pairs of goods are complementary goods. They complete one another. They go together, cars and petrol. Now this question revolves around the cross-elasticity of demand for complements. So let's see what it looks like on the diagram. We'll take the price of petrol up here and asks, when the price of petrol changes, what happens to the quantity of cars demanded? And we have a negative slope. As the price of petrol falls, the quantity of cars demanded rises. So complementary goods have a negatively sloped cross-elasticity of demand. So our answer is that where we have complementary goods, the cross-elasticity of demand is negative. So we've come quite a long way. We've thought about supply and demand analysis, and that's enabled us to establish an equilibrium price and quantity. It's also enabled us to see what happens when demand or supply changes, and we've seen the direction in which equilibrium price and quantity will alter. But we've taken it one step further, and we've seen not only the direction of the quantity and price change, we've also seen the extent of the quantity and price change, and we've been able to do that because we understand the concept of elasticity.